I had a student this year named Catherine, and Catherine came in not knowing many of her letter sounds. She switched them, like the M and the N and the R and the S. And she didn't have much confidence when she was doing any of her reading. What I did was I observed her, of course, and listened to her read, and observed her not really taking the time to look at her to use her strategies like beginning sounds, and use picture support. And I decided that she was a little bit below the rest of the group, so I gave her 5 minutes before the group every day, 5 to 10 minutes, and we specifically talked about certain strategies, and I give her a ton of praise every time I saw her doing these strategies. And as she started to do them on their own or on her own, I gave her a new strategy to use, and then I'd make sure she was remembering to use both strategies. And she started gaining a lot of confidence in what she was doing, and she started displaying this in her group time also. So eventually I was able to just meet with her 1 or 2 days a week before her group, and then I ended up not meeting with her at all, but she felt so confident and used these strategies consistently. So I felt comfortable taking away that independent time with her.
Nice. So how do you think Catherine grew and you grew from this experience?
I think Catherine grew by gaining a ton of confidence in what she was doing. She knew she could do it. Once she had the strategies, she was able to apply them and actually read new words versus giving up immediately or saying, I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I know I grew because I got to have to give her a little bit of individual attention, really see exactly what she needed and how I could teach her those strategies, and then again teach other kids those strategies. So I noticed certain things she would do was make a switch in some sounds. So every time we got to that sound, we'd stop and say, what was that sound again? And we'd look up at our letters, and she'd remember that way. So giving her some picture clues to go with it and that kind of thing. And I ended up using those kind of strategies with other students as well.
And then just reflecting on how you moved Catherine along, how did you decide when it was time for her to move to the next level or move to the next strategy?
Well, every time I taught her a new strategy, I would give her a lot of support with it. If she wasn't using it immediately, I'd jump in and I'd say, nope, wait, what was our strategy? I'd maybe remind her the strategy, or I'd point to something to help her remember, like a picture clue or of my strategy cards. And as we went along, I stopped doing that as much, and I'd just stand there and I'd just look at her. She'd know what I meant by the look. And then eventually I didn't need to give her the look anymore. When she was able to use that strategy without needing my look or my point, I felt like I weaned her off of my support and we could move to something else. As far as moving to the next level, of course, I did the running records and noticed her, recognized her fluency, if she was reading with expression, if she was reading like she was talking, as well as her accuracy. If her accuracy was above a 90%, I would, or probably more like a 93 to 95%, I would try to push her along. I didn't wait until she was super comfortable. I wanted to move her along because I knew that she could do it, and I wanted her to always have a challenge rather than make it easy. Of course, I gave her familiar books to give her that confidence, but I definitely wanted to keep pushing her along.
Well, thank you, Ms. Callahan, for helping make the magic happen for Catherine.
Thank you.
An instructional challenge that I faced this past school year with students that I faced in the past as well is using a number line to add and subtract 2-digit numbers in math, second grade math.
Yeah.
The way that I overcame this challenge was connecting the number line which students are to draw in order to add with base 10 blocks. So if they would make jumps of 10, they would have the concrete base 10 block to show the jump of 10. And that helped them grasp the concept of adding 10 or 1 or 100 if we are in 3 digits.
Yeah. And did you have a particular student that really struggled with that?
Yes.
And what were kind of their challenges in that?
So I think the biggest challenge was that they saw the number line on the wall, which is increments of 1, but they were to do more than just increments of 1 jumps. They needed to do increments of 10, so it was a little bit more abstract.
Yeah.
So I tried to bring it back to that concrete object that they knew the understanding of. They knew the base 10 blocks and the value of the 10 and the value of the 1. So they knew to do the connecting things,
Mhm.
and it helped them to kind of understand it a little better.
Do you think they were successful?
Yes, in the end, with a lot of practice and using the drawing with the concrete, led to their success and stronger understanding of the number line.
Nice. And then how did you almost monitor that student's journey through that concept?
I collected data and anecdotal notes from a small group, and I noticed they didn't really know how to use a number line that didn't already have the numbers on it. So we started with the numbers, and then we connected it to the value of the tens block. And over time, they started to get more fluid with using the pieces, and then eventually being able to use the number line without the concrete object.
Nice. And then how do you think your student as well as yourself have grown through that process?
My student grew through it because at first they really didn't understand what to do, and through the process and through connecting different aspects of different ways of learning, they eventually got it. And I grew through that by realizing the strong importance of reverting back to concrete. If they're not understanding this, just make it as concrete as possible, and just apply that everywhere, because all students will succeed at higher rates with that support.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Lewis.
Thank you.